Hello, sir.
G'day, g'day.
This
G'day,
meeting is
g'day.
being recorded.
May just be us. Let's do a chit chat for until 3 minutes past. If not, we're gonna train because I want to get a good recording for the company.
Yes, sir.
So,
Sounds good.
what's going on? What have you been seeing today? Yeah.
Yeah. So I've had 3 calls now where we get right to the end. I get strong buy-in. It's like a money objection, right? It's strong buy-in, and then I get into the financing part, and
Mhm.
then as soon as we start the transaction, they drop off. Boom.
How was your cost of an action?
Pretty strong. I feel like that's
Yeah.
the strongest part is my future pacing and my cost of inaction.
Good. Yeah. That is probably not the easiest part in sales, but if you've got sales down, the easiest part in this offer, right? Because the first 5 minutes is tough and the last 5 minutes is tough because of this offer.
Yeah.
But the bit in the middle should be pretty textbook. Yeah, I mean, Hangouts doesn't mean it's a bad thing, right? People, let's let Jamilin. It's not a bad thing. It's pretty much a fuck off. I've closed a lot of people that have hung up. I just give them a call, get them back on the phone. Like if you get them back on.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Like immediately when they drop off, I call them.
Yeah.
And they just don't pick up.
Yeah. Really strange. Well, not strange because it's sales. That's what happens. I get a lot of hang-ups as well. It's not a bad thing. It's either good. No worries from him. It's either like a good thing because they've made the decision, or it's like cost of an action / why now. Like mainly cost of an action could. Who knows? We're gonna have to watch calls, right?
Yeah.
But for some people, it's normally a place to look is cost of an action because if they've got such a big cost of an action, they're not going to just exit on everything.
Yeah.
But maybe you've got them in a position also, maybe you've got them in a position where it's like, I can't, what I want to say to Dean, I can't say because it's, maybe they just can't, do you know what I mean? They just have to drop out. But,
but I mean, it must be something I'm doing, right?
I mean, a lot of hang-ups hang-ups isn't a bad thing. So let's see how the trend goes. I used to get a lot, so fuck it, you know what I mean? So it is what it is.
But it's just so strange, right? Because if you look at the call recordings, the one I understand because he was like at the end, he was like muting his microphone and then would speak to his wife and then come back on and then speak to his wife.
Yeah.
So I just felt like that one I kind of understood. But the last two, the guy was literally saying, "Hold on a sec, I need to find my charger," and he ran outside into his car, ran back in, and as he ran in, poof, just disappeared. And so I'm like, fuck, man, did this guy's charger really go down? Because it was such a good call. It was such a good call. The other guy was on his phone.
What a surprise, man. The charger is needed at payment. What a surprise. And it always seems real. People are smarter than you think, right? It always seems real.
Yeah.
Right?
So
I've had closers come to me. I remember one of Matthew's calls before, and the guy just got up, did whatever reason, right? And the screen was just like, he just wasn't there for like 10, 15 minutes. And it just, like, you don't see anything. Like, I reckon the guy like was like walking behind and he's just waiting behind the laptop, like, waiting behind, but yeah, let's train. I used to get a lot more hang-ups than the average myself. Daniel, I think, does as well. I mean, he's a triager at the moment, but he'll probably take sales calls at some point when we need. And that guy gets hang-ups. So you might have some hang-up competition. We might have to make a leaderboard for it. So, but let's train. Jamil, we're going to train on money objection. Start from the top. What I want to start with on this one is going to be basics down to the good stuff. I know everyone wants to get into how do I take a credit card, but we have got a couple of things to cover before we get there. We may get there today. So, documente. Okay. And I think both of you get this pretty well, but just for clarity before we go deeper, if you get, let's say, Dean, if you get That's a lot of money. Which one of the three? Which one of the three would you say that is?
That's a lot of money. Well, your screen sharing is not working.
Oh, my screen's just not working. Is that an objection? Is that a no objection? Is that a smoke screen? What is that?
It's a no objection, really.
Yeah.
At first,
At first.
like it's kind of like well, that's a statement.
Yeah.
So,
Not an objection. Correct. If we get just needs to check my finances,
smoke
what
screen.
would you? Yeah, the best smoke screen of them all. It's like the guy's had a sales call before when he brings that one out. And then if we get or you give it to me, Jamil, if you're able to come on mic. If not, no stress. What do people say when it's an actual? We're going to handle a financial objection. What sort of things do people say?
When they want to handle the financial objection, they ask for a payment
Yeah.
plan.
What was that? Say it again.
Like, do you ask like what do they say when it's an actual financial objection?
Yeah.
Well, I guess they say they can't afford it.
Yep. Yeah. What about you, Dean?
They don't have that money up front right now.
Yeah. I can't afford it is I'd probably want to get a bit of clarity on that, Jamil. But I think it is in the financial. Yeah, we don't know. We are probably accurately assuming, but we don't know it's a financial objection. If someone can't afford it, right? So I'd probably tie down. I mean, so I can have you best when you say you can't afford it. Like, how do you mean exactly, right? Because we don't know. Do you have the money? Do you not have the money? I'm not too sure, right? But 100%, if they say I don't have the money, right? We know what to do, right? So let's focus on this one today, and just get straight into handling a financial objection. Obviously, getting there is a different story. When people say the things like Jamil said, we're not quite there. Would you agree, Dean?
Yep.
Like a little bit of probing, a little bit clarifying with those types of things is good. I don't have the money. What is the first thing we do, Jamil, when someone says I don't have the money?
You say you agree, kind of stay on their side of town. Okay, I totally get it. Money doesn't grow on trees, something like that. You acknowledge, and then
Yep.
from there you clarify.
How would you clarify?
So is it that you don't have $1,500 to throw at the screen, or you just don't, something along those lines, or you just don't have $1,500 now to invest?
Cool. Is there anything you would do differently, Dean?
So my process
don't
normally
have-
goes for if it's anything money reject or money objection, I would always clarify first. So I would be like, how do you mean? Just so I can understand because I don't want to assume, right? And then
Yep.
from there I would be, yeah, that's not a problem. Money aside, do you feel like this would be the answer for you, or do you feel like this can get you to XYZ, or this would be the answer for you?
Like it. Cool. So I don't normally clarify, but it's very valid and it's a good thing to do for sure. I agree. And then the first real thing we're going for is just make this somewhat presentable. Is let's go for boom boom. Exactly what you said. We want to get commitment because oh my geez Louise, I'm trying to make something nice, but
Yeah, that's what I missed. Commitment.
Yeah, 100%. So commitment is our permission, right? If they're committed on the program and they think it will work, we're sitting on the same side of the table, we're trying to figure this out together. It's our permission to start talking about things, right? So we want to get permission, which is through commitment to the process, right? This is just the bog standard way, right? If it's a money objection, you can just say money aside. You don't want to get wrapped up in money aside on everything, because when you start saying money aside when it's not a money problem, which people do a lot, you get a bit funky, you create problems. But yeah, in your opinion, do you feel this can get you to go? This can right? Go. Pretty standard.
Yeah.
100%. I'm going to give you, if you feel like you need a bit extra, or if you really want to lock it in, I'll give you one of my favorite double tie downs. Again, it's not needed, it's not a requirement, but my go-to is, okay, Jamil, some money aside, you're 100% in. Right? If you really want to lock it up, right, and get that full commitment, is there any other, again, you don't need to commit someone twice, but do you guys do anything extra here? Are you fancy pants, or is there anything that you would say?
Yeah, I mean, I don't typically have to do this, but sometimes I'll be like, so dude, if you had the program was $1, you'd be 100% in, no questions asked. Just to kind of clarify a bit more.
Yeah, I like it. I think that fits there for
I
sure.
actually got that from Matthew, or one of those guys. Either Matthew or Justin.
Nice. No, I like it a lot. That does fit. That does fit very well there. I normally save that for maybe like 2 more steps down, but it does fit there as well. Anything you would do, Dean? It's not required. But
Yeah, I just get double buy-in, and so like money aside, you feel like this can get you to goal. Why do you feel it can?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
I just get double buy-in normally, and
Yeah.
then from there on, I get a little bit more, one extra step of buy-in, which is
Oh.
normally like something like, money is the easy part. We can figure that out.
Yeah.
The question is, are you ready to step up and make the changes necessary to get to your goal?
Yeah, I like that one too. If money's the easy part, I always say that.
Nice. Pretty good stuff. You've got a lot of options. Obviously, this is not the first time you're getting commitment on the objection. You hopefully got commitment before you dropped price as well. So obviously, you've got a lot of tools in your tool bag. You probably just don't want to say the same thing twice, right?
Yeah.
So maybe if you use some of your tools up there, and you're probably not going to want to use them back here, which is fine. I typically use before price. I typically use the what makes you feel it can, and then back here I typically go a little bit harder. Cool. We don't need to go too deep into that, but commitment. What have any of you watched any of the recordings that I do? If not, what do you do next?
I watched it briefly, but I didn't soak it up as much as I wanted to.
Okay. Dean, what would you do next?
I can't remember what you did, but I really like your style. So what I normally do is then, in terms of the investment, is it a case of having the full investment
I do the
and
same.
needing a bit of certainty, or is it more like you don't have it all, but you're really interested?
Yeah, I do the same.
I think Coles has a nice line I used to use. I don't know if it's here, but he's like, so you're not in like a should I do it place. It's more like, how do I make it work financially place? Or is that like before?
Yeah, that wouldn't fit here. That would fit here instead, right? So money aside, in your opinion, Jamil, do you feel this can get you to 10K per month so you can XYZ 1, 2, 3? They're like, yeah, 100%. Okay, so it sounds like to me, right, that would be like a double tie down. Sounds like to me you're not in a, you're not in a should I do this kind of position. You're in a how do I do this position, right? So
That's
that
actually good as well.
yeah. So that would be another like double tie down, Jamil. A little bit of an extra juice up the top one. Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Yeah. So Dean, 100%, I do the same thing. My purpose of asking this question, the second question, which is like, okay, is it that you just don't have the full amount, even if you wanted to get started, or is it more of a like you do have it, but you're just not too sure whether you want to put the money here, right? So we're trying to figure out like, is it more logistical or is it a bit more uncertainty, right?
Yeah.
If they don't have the full amount, we're going to continue a logistical conversation, right? If they, oh yeah, I have it, but then we're like, interesting. It's not a money problem because they have the money, right? Make sense?
So what was interesting, yeah, sorry, because I want to bring this in at this exact spot. The guy I closed he said, like, he's got the full amount. But okay, he was 18 years old, but he's got the full amount. And then he said something else, and I was like, fear. And so while I was doing fear handling, I noticed, oh, this guy doesn't have it. So I feel like, people aren't always honest there. Which is, I think
Interesting.
that's where the skill comes in, right? Being able to really listen to the tone.
Yeah. Interesting. I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, you are right. Yeah, you're right. It's not something that's given me problems, but I can see, yeah. I mean, people lying about having the money when they don't have the money. I don't think it's often, but yeah, for sure. So yeah, this question is pretty much to figure out, like, is it logistics or uncertainty? Pretty easy question. This you can see as like the first gate. I was explaining to Justin some weird analogy of like the two gates to get into army base. This is the first one, right? The army base is like, let's give you a payment plan, right? So uncertainty logistics, let's say someone continues on the money path, right? Yeah, I just don't have the full amount, Dean. What do we do here?
So here's where I also need your help. Typically what I would do next is I would be like something like, would it help to take action now if we could break this up into more manageable chunks?
Yeah, and I do the same thing as well. So we're on the same page, which is really cool. I will rewrite this, but this is, I guess this is like testing. It's just a money issue, right? I don't know. Would you word it in a better way? It's like a hard test, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I've actually got my steps as it's highlighted. This is normally where I need to listen for fear, is between these two stages.
Testing, it's just a money issue, right? The words don't matter too much, but the principle is like, would you like to see, to see if and how we can break this down into a payment plan, potentially something a bit more manageable for you? And if I can really go out of my way and fill in the gap and make it a real thing where we don't just give away payment plans every day, but it's for you, Dean, right? Would that really help you move forward and get started on your goals now? I used to say, and I know Bill used to teach today, not many deals. I probably lost 5 deals in the last 2 years. It wasn't a big amount, but I probably had 3 to 5 people that were like hardcore yes today's, and then they're like, give me an hour. You said I could do it today. Right? So
Can I ask, what would you do there? Would you still like try to get a deposit? Like, what do you do in that situation? Because I've had that.
in a situation where they have a hard commitment with you and they find a way to worm out because you worded it not the best.
No. So it's like they were like yes on today, but then I tried to get a deposit before they leave, and I feel like that's why I lost the sale.
Well, if we get this hard, we know with 100% certainty that we're going to get paid. Like, if you really get a strong commitment here, there's like, they have to hang up. It's hang up or pay. I wouldn't like.
I like that. I go, okay.
Like I see this as like the hard line, and I just put here, like, we're not giving payment plans for free. They're either hard getting started now, and we're going to talk about it, or I'm not having that conversation. That's me. In cases where I've worded it poorer, where I've been like, okay, and if I can find a way to make it work for you, Dean, would that help you get started with me today? They go, yes, and I break it down, I figure out a plan, and they're like, yep, that's awesome. I'm definitely getting started today. Just can we book a call in 2 hours? Very rare, but I just shifted it to now. But the answer to your question is you should never be going past this into an open wallet if you're not like pretty much 100% certain they're going to pay.
Yeah. Okay.
And what you can do is you can just double it up, right? So let's word this, maybe word this a little bit better. I'm spending too much time trying to make this look nicer than actually training, but would it be helpful to see how we can make this more manageable, Dean? And help you get started with less down? Would that allow you, if I really went and did that, to get started with us now? And you're like, yeah. Or they say something funny. you want to go hard on this. Like this is a hard line. So I would say I would repeat. Another way to repeat is like, okay, so if I'm going to find an amount that works for you, Dean, but also works for us, you're getting started with us. You're getting started with us now, right?
Yeah.
You just got to have different ways to ask in it, and just you got to loop this one, right?
Okay. Look, yeah.
You shouldn't have to loop this one. 98% of the time, it's either like a hard yes or it's like a yes that sounds like a no, and you just be like, oh, it does seem 100% certain here. Are you sure? Right? So it's either a like, let's move forward, or it's like, are you sure? You don't seem too sure. But if they give you a
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
if they give you like a yes and you're like, I don't know, man, that's a yes, but that's not a yes, then I'll just re-ask, right?
Okay.
And a way I like to re-ask. And I think Bill, he changed his training to recent, where he does like 3 of these. He's like going really hard on this as well now, which he didn't used to do. And I just figured out taking a fuck ton of calls that this is the most important part. So re-ask, and I like to do it in a, if we can find a way that works for you, but also works for us. It's typically my second route, right? Now, a lot of people just poorly word this. Okay, if I can find a way to make it manageable, will that help you?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems really silly, but the amount of people that do it, that know what they're doing, they know why they're doing it, and they just still fuck it. Oh, would that help you? Oh yeah, of course it would help me. And then they go into a payment plan. I don't know if you guys have seen it on sales teams and stuff, but it's all the time. This question is the one that's fucked the most.
Wait, sorry, can I ask there? You said, and then they go to a payment plan. Aren't we supposed to go to like a payment plan right now? Or do you want to go to first money down and then finance?
Well, the going to the open wallet route is the right move, but the way I said it was the issue that I was concerned with.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So listen, tell me if you see anything different. If I said to you, okay, Dean, if I can find a way to make a payment plan with you, help you out, make it a bit more manageable, that help you get started.
Yeah, 100%.
Any issues you see that at all?
Yeah, we can. I can start next week. Can you send?
No, but I mean, is there any issues with what I said just now that you can?
It's all about you. It's all about him, not about us.
Know what I'm looking for? How about you, Dean?
Now.
Now. Of course, it's gonna fucking help me if you give it to me cheaper.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of people do it. This is the most important word, right? The rest of this is not even that doesn't matter that much. You can use your own words, you can use your own personality. This is what matters. So many people miss it out. So, yeah, that's that. Sometimes we have to just read.
John, sorry to cut you off, man. What if, like yesterday, I had a guy, I did the same thing. Hey, if we couldn't make this a bit, actually, I shouldn't have even been in open wallet, to be fair, because this guy had the money, but he just said he didn't want to pay the full 5,800 because he wanted to break it up to see if it was gonna work. So he was uncertain. So I still went the money route regardless, though. But I didn't really know how to handle that.
Yeah. So seems a little bit messy, just by what you're saying. Let's play some scenarios here because it will look different. We're not always just going to get money, no issue, right? We can either get, is it that you have the full amount or you don't have the full amount, right? We could get, I just don't have the full amount. Cool. Okay. Well, if I can break this down for you, would that help you start moving forward with me now, right? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's
Or
exactly what he did.
and then we have to do a bit more clarity, or we have to ask again. Or sometimes they'll say, not today. Like that happens quite a lot. Yeah, not today. Right? So they have a money issue and they also don't want to get started today. Which is probably, we don't want to assume just yet, but money and uncertainty. You've probably got a double whammy there, right?
All right.
Sometimes people are very clear, yeah, not today, JML. Right? They probably haven't got money and they're probably uncertain, and they're probably uncertain because they haven't got any money. Right? So it's a bad situation. What I would do in that specific situation is just get a little bit of clarity on them. So I'd say, okay, and if this was like, just for clarity here and for my sanity, Jamil, like if it was $1, right, in a hypothetical world that obviously doesn't exist and I can't bring you in for $1, but if it was, right, and I'm playing silly with you, But if it was $1, would you just get rocking, get signed up, get started today?
Yeah, for sure. If it was $1, 100%.
Yeah. So I'd go that route.
And then you'd ask why? Like, why would you sign? Why would you kind of sign up if it was $1? What is it that's kind of attractive to you?
If you need, yeah, you can do like the double stuff if you need. But in that situation, the person, yeah, the person, because they've said to you, would it help you move forward? Like, would it help you move forward now? And because it's 5,800, they're like, no. But it's like, oh well, I mean, if it was $1, would you? Like, yeah, yeah. So there may be like a little bit there, but I would
Yeah, it was strange because I tied him down. I'm like, okay, and do you feel like this process can 100% get you to your goal of being able to, be that guy? And he's like, yeah, 100%. I think it could help me.
or even better, I would say, the last one I said was really shit, but I would say to them, I mean, well, if you had $5,800, right, that would be better, Dean.
That's better. Yeah.
If you had $5,800, like, would you put
Yeah.
it towards this? Or if $5,800 fell out of the sky into your lap, like just out of nowhere, like, would you put it towards this? Right? And if they're like yes, it's like, okay, let's figure out a way to make it work financially. If they're like, if I had $5,800, I'd probably not put it towards this. All right, I don't know. Then it's like, okay, we need to just have an uncertainty conversation, because when it's money and uncertainty, we always have to go uncertainty first. Not always, minority of the time. Sometimes you can just payment plan an uncertain person, but it's not often. Like you can just you can force one, right? But I wouldn't advise it. So yeah, I think in that situation the best route is, yeah. And if you did have the 5,800, would you get started? It's probably the best route to go. The dollar one didn't really make a lot of sense that I came up with, but this one's a lot better.
Yeah, what I found with the dollar one, and I can just see this being misinterpreted. Last night when I broke down to the manageable chunks, the person was like, "Oh, are you gonna give it to me at half price?" And so I thought, "Whoa, how did we get to that point?"
Yeah. So if no, I think 5,800. If you did have the 5,800, would you get started? That should give you a bit of clarity on whether you're dealing with money or just money or money and fear. Obviously, if it's uncertainty and fear, we have to go that route first. Because if we overcome someone's uncertainty, the money fixes itself, right? Other possibilities before we go open wallet are, yeah, I have the money, right? I have the money, but that's uncertainty. It's not a money problem. Or they say like, yeah, like, they just say something that doesn't fucking make any sense, right? A lot of the times that will be the case. They just would say something that doesn't really make sense, or they'll contradict themselves one sentence after another. That's when they're here. And then apart from that, like if it's I don't have the money, we move on. And then yeah, it's either clarify, right? Options is clarifying, re-asking. Otherwise, it's a no, and it's probably this question. This is pretty much everything that can happen, right? Besides uncertainty and besides open wallet, like this is the whole framework. I've taken thousands of sales calls. If you just follow those 3 steps in blue with some nuances in the middle, right, that we've covered every single nuance, you're either going to be at an open wallet or uncertainty. I don't see. Do you see any other opportunity, like any other scenarios that could happen to you?
No, I've only been on those two where it's like 100% can't afford it or uncertainty.
It's either like help me, I don't have the money, or it's like I really want to do this, but right.
Exactly.
Let's, for the sake of money, because we're on money and it's easier than uncertainty. For the sake of it, let's go through open wallet. How are we doing? Okay, we're doing pretty good on time. We might be able to cover the whole of open wallet. That might be crazy. Open wallet. Okay, so let's say, Dean, it's a case of, I don't have the money, and like, yeah, that would really help me move forward now, Dean. If you could help me out with something that, I don't have a lot of money, man, but if you can find a way, like, I'm ready to get started now. What would be the first thing you do with open wallet?
So we're not doing finance then. We're moving to open wallet. Yeah, I would say, well, if you're ready to really put a line in the sand, and would you be willing to get creative with me and have an open and honest conversation about finances?
Yeah, perfect. You said we're not doing finance or financing? How do you mean by that?
Yeah, maybe my system is broken, yeah, because this is what I want to ask is, so what I would normally do if it's a US person, I would go to finance, right? Because then it's the whole amount up front then, that we get. Does
I
that make sense?
I know what you're saying, but I definitely wouldn't. Is there a reason why you would do that? I mean, obviously the reason is to get the full amount up front, but do you have a real reason why you do that?
No,
Cool.
it's just that.
Let's go through Open Wallet, and I'll hopefully fix that puzzle piece for you. Because yeah, definitely will be doing that. But I'll explain why instead of just shooting it down. Open Wallet, 100% agree. We do the same things, which is what would I call it? Not, just like permission, I guess. Again, right? But a different type. This is permission to ask them to have the financial conversation, right? And exactly what you said, Dean. So it would be, I always say, would you be open? Doesn't really matter the wording you use as long as it's wording that they say, like, yeah, I'm happy to talk about it, right? Just get permission. Would you be open to, just having an open conversation? Would you be open to having a conversation about where you're at financially? This is pretty much just what I say.
Yeah.
You can do the open, you can do the honest, you can do this. I've seen a lot of people really overdo the honest, right? Like, but it doesn't. I won't go too much into it. But that's good. Yeah, would you be open if you've got your own way? Do your own way. Pretty simple. They say yes. If they say, I've never had someone say no. Have you ever had someone say no, Dean?
No.
Yeah,
They
it's just
always
like,
say yes.
yeah. If you ask it in the right way, you're pretty good. If you don't ask for this, you're going to be like trying to draw blood out of a stone in Open Wallet. So this gives you free reign. Like the doctor's like, is it okay if you take your clothes off and I just do an examination on you, or do you want me to get a female doctor? Right, if you're a lady, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh no, it's fine, it's fine. And then it's just like, okay, take everything off. Let's go. Right? Now we're entering the open, right? I would say gather intel, no, gather info, right? We want everything. They said they're going to take their clothes off. Let's take them off.
Yeah.
And
This is where I messed up previously.
okay, and they, because you've asked permission and because you're the expert, they are going to trust you more when you prescribe a solution because you've gone so detailed and you've really tried to understand, right? Don't feel the opposite where it's like, I'm going to play safe. I'm going to do this, right? And what I would say with the Open Wallet here, we want to go, this is what we came for. And we want to go least invasive to most invasive with our questions, right? We're going to touch their arms before we stick the fucking thing up their ass. I'm British, I'm sorry. Cool. So this is this. We're looking to gather 4 things. Jamil, give me the least invasive question to start with.
The least invasive? I mean, I guess how much cash on hand do you have right now in between checkings and savings?
Yeah, cash on hand. I'm not sure with the barbers because the barbers like it just straight up and simple. Sometimes you want to explain. Well, you always want to explain on most offers. I'm not sure about this one because I know the guys are just straight to the point with these barbers. But on normally, I would say, okay, Dean. And what is your cash on hand? Explain. By that I mean, not how much you have to invest, right? Because I'm not asking that. But what I'm asking is how much you have combined: checkings, savings, personal, total.
Yeah.
Right? If you feel like it's too much for these barbers because they're like us, day-to-day guys, just doing the fucking having a good time. If it goes over the head, shorten it up. But I would say not how much you have to invest, because what you guys want to know is you just want a full picture. You want full understanding, checkings, savings, business. Right? Good. What would be the second? You don't have to go like properly least invasive to most invasive. Sometimes the order will make more sense in different ways. But what would be the second step, Dean, in invasive?
I would normally go to credit access. I don't know
Okay.
if that's the right order.
Do you feel like asking someone for their credit access is more invasive or less invasive than asking someone just like how much money they have left over at the end of each month?
I think it's the same.
That's actually, yeah, your suggestion was better.
Yeah. Again, the execution is 99% of it. The order is like a little tiny thing, but I want to put it in there just for the sake of it. It's not the biggest thing, but I definitely wouldn't rip someone like, "What's your credit access?" on the first question. Like that's the juice that we want at the end, and the more they trust us and the more they see us as the authority, the more they're going to be like, "Oh, it's 30 grand." They're not going to lie to us, right? So I would go with what I call net cash flow and explain. I don't know if this will work with the barbers, but this is what works the best for most offers. Okay, and what is your net cash flow, Jamil? And what I mean by that is, I mean, I'm not asking you how much money you make, right? Of course. But what I am asking you is just after all expenses, after everything is gone out, like what is left at the end of each month or week or however often you paid, right? Maybe they're like, oh, I'm paid bi-weekly and I have like 750 left. Cool. Right? So not asking how much paid, asking what's left. Then I would go, then we're like a little bit into conversation. They're a bit warmed up, right? We just haven't pulled everything off in one go, right? And now I'd say credit, access, credit, score. I don't think you really need to be explanatory with those ones. They're pretty simple. But this is what most people consider the invasive side, right? Which it isn't, but people are like people, right? So I would try and be last with those if I was you guys.
Yeah.
But you can play around. You can play around with the order. You can figure out what works best for you. When I read end of days and it's financial objection, and I see like financial objection had $500 in the bank, we're missing like everything. It doesn't mean anything. That person's never going to buy from you, right? So once we have these numbers, and again, we want specifics. If someone's like, around 3 to 5K, you're like, I mean, around? Is it 3K? Is it 5K? Is it in the middle? Like, what is it? I mean, not to the penny, Dean, but like, oh, that's 3,700. Okay, cool, got you. Just because I want to help you, right? Around. So I need specifics here, brother. Like, if you went to the doctor and you were like, something in my torso hurting, and it looks like, where? Like, help me out here, brother. Right?
Yeah.
Point to it. Oh, 3,700. There it is. Okay, cool. Right? Either of you, whichever one's got the right answer or the wrong answer. Wrong answers are good too. It's good for learning. What do we do next? We have a full understanding of their position. And they want help. They want help and we understand where they're at. What do we do now?
So this is, well, I stole this from you because I thought it was really, really great. I would say, well, I don't think the best thing is, well, okay, we need to take into account what's actually available, but say something along the lines of, I don't think the best thing is to drain the account, but I also don't think the best thing is to not take action. And then give a suggestion.
Yeah.
Am I off?
You either do the same things as me or you've watched my trainings. Which one is it?
No, watch your training. I stole it from you.
Yeah. So this is Bill Walsh, the first half, and this is Cole Gordon, the second half. And putting them together makes a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
Bill doesn't do this. Bill just says like, well, well, how much have you got? So,
I like that. All right, buddy. How much we got?
yeah, mate, the amount of fucking money I've lost with that bullshit. Like, you do such a good financial objection work, and then you're just like, okay, like, what are you comfortable with? What can we do? It's just like, just throwing the whole thing in the bin, right?
Yeah. But I feel like
this-
most trainers out there, like, end there. What do you have to invest? And that's what I did, you know?
that's what I did,
So-
man. That's what I did for fucking at least 6 months, right? But as soon as I did this, holy jeez, like a lot different, a lot of money. Okay, so prescription. So I like to, you know, I like to just kind of get them in the zone before I put the prescription on, which is, as you said, is and this is just shit I came up with myself. Like, you know, when you just take so many calls, you just like
Yeah.
you find something and you're like, I'm doing this every time. So this is my little spin. Okay, man. So I don't think the best thing for you to do is X. And this is where you're going to have to think on your feet, depending on the situation. If they've got 500 cash on hand, 1,000, like a 500 credit access, like no flow and a 700 credit score, I don't think the best thing for you to do, Dean, is to just like kind of really put yourself in a tight position to make this work by kind of combining your cash on hand and your credit. And we're here to make your life better, not worse, brother. Right? And I wouldn't want to bring you in if that's not the case. If that's the case. But I also don't think the best thing for you to do here is to do nothing. Right? Would you agree? So I would just get that little boost. It's like a little boost. Yeah, nothing's rubbish, right? And you get the little boost before you put a prescription on, right? But I also don't think the best thing for you is to do nothing. And they really trust you. They've just opened up everything to you. You've been through a full call. This is like the fucking the fucking game ender. That's the half court shot with like 3 seconds left. I don't know. It just works. And then I prescribe. Prescription is gonna just be fully based off of whatever. Like, it's full custom, right? Maybe you're gonna prescribe a payment plan. If you do prescribe a payment plan, just prescribe an amount that you know they're gonna say no to first, right? If they've got 3,000 cash on hand and 2,000 credit, and that's everything to their name, just prescribe $5,000 down. You can always drop. Just always prescribe higher.
Okay. Yeah.
Always prescribe max, and you can drop down. Right? Oh, it'll be lovely if that would fit it on one page. Let's try and make it work. My OCD. How would you prescribe Jamil? If you just make up a situation, doesn't really matter. But how would you prescribe? What's your framework?
I basically say, all right, man. So if I was you, based on your particular situation, what I would do is X and X and X and X and X. And then, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay. Good. What would you do, Dean? Let's get 2 views.
Mine is gonna be worse. How I do it is I would just be looking at the numbers. Here's what I suggest. Let me know what you think, and then I would be like, okay, let's do 1,000 down, and then we can split the rest up over 3 months.
So you're both prescribing with 0 fucking confidence, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
Absolutely none. Do you think they're gonna listen to you?
No.
Nope. Right? Okay. In these situations, what we do is X. Right? So I'd say in these situations, or you can just be like, okay, what we're gonna do is X. You've got to lead. You've got to have confidence.
Okay. See, that's where I lost it then.
In these situations, or what we will do, what I have found best And what we're going to do together is, right? Just imagine you're holding their fucking card, right? You've got it. If there's any uncertainty from your end, what do you think they're going to feel? Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to. This is the point where you got to lead. They need you here. So I'd just some form of confidence. There's no right way to say it, but I've just given you 3 options, right? This is what we're doing. This is how you should feel, right? And then when you prescribe, I call it put a sell on it. So the first one is confidence. This doesn't really make sense, but I'll explain it. I learned this one from Andrew Tate. You see how I'm a Frankenstein here, right? So whatever your views are on Andrew Tate, if you don't think he's a legend, then you can leave the team. But yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Blue pill, red pill.
So one thing Andrew does, and I didn't even take it from like a sales thing, just watching bullshit reels all day. He puts a sell on fucking everything. Everything. If someone calls up for something and they're like, oh, like, can I get booked in for this day? If his calendar's completely fucking open, he'll say, yeah, I'm fully booked that day. Dean. But what I can do is I can try and move this really important meeting because I know there's some room. I know I can probably pull it off, right? And I'm gonna get you slotted in there. And if I can do that, right, you're putting a sell on it, right? And what we do when we put a sell on this is I normally like to ask for something in return in our position, right? So I'm not saying what we're gonna do here, Dean, because what I found best and what we're going to do in this situation is we're going to do 3,000 down, and as soon as you increase your price by $10, or as soon as you get your price point up $20, whatever their goal is, as soon as you're in a position where you hire that first person in to one of your chairs, a testimonial from you, not just to the company.
So good.
Right. So you're not just making you're not just letting them in for 3K. You're letting them in for 5.8K. But it's not just all financial. You don't decrease the value of the program. And this adds in to this is a special thing for you, Dean. We don't do payment plans. We don't have any set plans. But what I'm going to do for you, right, is I'm going to let you in for 3. I'm going to go out of my way and let you in for 3,000. And a testimonial with my name on it, not just a generic one, when you do XYZ. And if I can do that, like if I really, really go out of my way and make that possible for you and risk, like, I'm going to get some fucking shit from Alex doing this. But if I can do it, because I know as soon as you meet him on one of those first weekly meetings, you're going to love him, right? Are we getting started on your homework now? It's a trade. And then when you trade it, they don't feel like they can go think about it. They don't, it's a if this, then we starting on homework. It's not a here you go. They don't feel like they can go off the call and think about it. It's not an offer. It's a like, if I can, like, I'm asking you, like, if this is something I can do, are we doing this? It's not a here you go, what do you think? Right? But we're doing it in a smart way where we're not saying to them, well, if you make a decision today, I'm going to do this, because that's shit. So it's all about language. They shouldn't feel like they can hop off the call and have a payment plan. If they feel like they have a payment plan option by getting off the call, you fucked it. I mean, they do. If they hop off the call and don't move forward, you're still going to honor it, right? But you just want to use the right language. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say put a sell on it. It doesn't really matter the words. You can watch this recording back, but don't let them in for less down. Make up the room with something non-financial they are paying with. We don't want to devalue the program. And also we don't want them to feel like an actual payment plan is something we do. Mate, it's 5,800, get in. just for you, I'm gonna let you in for 3 grand and this and this and this and this. Because I just know, mate, like I don't want money to be the thing holding you back. Right? So we can cover the rest, it's part of this non-financially. For the I mean, obviously you're gonna pay the rest of it, but at least up front. So I wouldn't say those words, but that's how I'm thinking, right? Confidence, that's a must. This is an optional, but there's no world I would never do it. But it's optional. And then when you prescribe, you can do it whatever the fucking way you want. But if you actually just want to fucking collect money off over 90% of people you have a call with, like I did, right, on an offer where the leads were worse than this. These leads, if every single offer I've ever sold on, this is the offer I'd make the most money. I haven't had a single offer close to this. Not even remotely close. When I was doing 25k a month for the channels, fuck. The people I was talking to, bro, they got out of prison like 1 week ago and they had like $10, some of them. So, and that was normal. So,
Yeah.
this offer is nuts with leads. Like fuck. I have never sold on an offer where there's actually been there's actually real marketing. Ever. So, this is the first one I've seen. So, real marketing is hard to come by. Make the most of it.
Even with Cole?
Cole didn't have marketing, bro. Cole run 100% of his traffic came from paid ads same day. He had Cole doesn't have a brand, but what Cole has is not recognition is not the right word. What do you call it? He has
Authority. I don't know.
Yeah, he has like authority. He's known. He's known in the industry. He has recognition, but he doesn't have a brand. He's got like 20,000 people on YouTube, and his Instagram's about 400, 500,000 people, all from IG shoutouts. He gets like 300 likes. He doesn't.
Okay,
Post,
so you're
he
being
doesn't
like
post.
organically.
Yeah,
Organically, the way Alex is doing it. Okay, that makes sense.
he has a name, but he doesn't have a brand. A brand is like everything, right? If you listen to Hormozy, you know that, right? Brand is everything. Alex has one, which is the hardest thing to have. So we're in a very good position. So confidence, put a sell on it, and then I mean, all of this is important, but actually the prescription, I would do it in a trading way, where it's like, what we're gonna do in these situations. What I found best is X. So what we're gonna do is Y, and fill in the gap, fill in the gap, fill in the gap, fill in the gap. Right? If I can make it seem just for them, be a good actor. If I can like really if I can just figure this out, make it work, kind of, Alex is on holiday, he's not even checking Slack, we can probably get it through. Like, I think the better you are as that's kind of a joke, but that's the shit me and Matthew do. Like if I can really, you gotta put the act on. Like it's not normal, and to be fair, it's not, because like 7 out of 10 of our payments are like payment full anyway, right? So if I can make break my back, yada yada yada, for you, and then the best way I like to put it is, are we getting started with some homework now? I used to ask it in different words. I used to say, if I, the real trade where it's like, if I can do that for you, are you going to do this for me? If I can get you in for 3K, are we going to get you signed up? That works, but this is just a little bit like nicer, smoother, bringing it back to the goals and helping them. It doesn't feel like a trade. And if I can break my back, and if I can get you in for 3,000 down and a testimonial with my name on it in a couple of weeks, Dean, are we going to get started with some homework now? Right? It's less of a trade. It's more smooth.
Yeah.
Right? That is every single thing you could ever have, and you'll never, ever, ever be in a situation. Like there's not a single possible situation where you're not equipped with that. That's everything. Nothing left.
What about uncertainty? How do you handle uncertainty? Briefly, because obviously I don't know.
That's another cool, Jamil. That's another cool, brother.
That's the biggest one of all.
This is half There's only two objections: uncertainty and money, and we've just covered half of the objections in an hour, or in 55 minutes. It's pretty decent.
Yeah. And this was the best like money objection I've ever seen. Like, hands down.
Damn fucking right.
Solid confidence.
Yeah, you got to have it, right? You got to have it at the end of the call. Yeah, we'll cover uncertainty. Uncertainty is like a whole different beast, Jamil, to be honest. But we will use this if we need to get there as well. We'll come back to this doc, right? Yeah, what questions have you boys got?
I was gonna go over. We're gonna go over this shit and that call this morning all week long until I have this shit dialed in and then off to the races.
Yeah, focus on like the blue points because there's, I mean, money objection. There's like 3 things to think about, and then to do an open wallet, it's just like permission, open wallet, prescription. It's 3 things. So it's like we've only really covered like 6 things here, but that's all you need, right?
Yeah.
This is probably going to give you like just this on its own and not even being able to handle uncertainty is probably like a 25% close rate. Maybe you want this offer even like a 30% because it's easy. Just this. Plus discovery. Plus discovery, of course. They're going to want to buy it. But
I'm just so excited. It's actually like a process now. Like I'll be honest, for like the last 2 months, it's just been a fucking nightmare. So just seeing like Luca and these guys just closing off the rip like that, it just gives me so much motivation that I could actually like study something and not just be chasing random shit on these calls. So it's super dope, man.
good stuff. Yeah. You don't just need confidence in the company and the delivery. You also need confidence in what you're doing as a salesperson. Right.
Sure.
Yeah, because confidence that you're actually selling the right thing only gets you halfway. You also need confidence in your skills and what you're saying and coming across that way. And then you also need confidence in yourself as well. Like,
Yeah, and I think like that's one thing me and Justin have had, but it's like just when you have so much on confidence in what you're actually doing, it's like all of that stuff goes out the window. Like a lot of my confidence just got fucked because I'm like, dude, what am I really saying right now? That's not making any sense. So this is
well, everybody on this team has confidence in the delivery and the company because it's fucking good. It's great. If you don't have confidence, there's fucking something wrong with you. And then everybody on this team also has confidence in themselves. Because I didn't bring any losers in, right? That's the whole point we did interviews, right? So the missing piece is just confidence in your skill set. And sometimes people with a lower skill set that have more confidence in it actually close more deals. Right? So ideally, we have a very high skill set and a very high confidence in our skill set. But confidence is more important than skill. Ideally, we have both. Some people have delusional confidence when they think they're good, but they're not, right? And it helps them. Kind of like Daniel. You'll see with Daniel. He's got skills, but that man's the funniest fucker in the world, and he's super confident. So he's gonna start. He will slam them in when he gets on the phones.
yeah, because that's kind of what we started with. Like the first month, my first week was like Luca. Like, dude, I was slinging deals and I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. But I guess as we started to learn more of the process and shit just got more confusing, that confidence just kind of went to the wayside. So now, like, I'm in that state where now I'm going. I almost feel like I have to forget everything that I've learned. And I think that's the best thing for me these next like 2 weeks to really soak this in and just freaking rip it. But
yeah, you've had a lot of people coach you, a lot of managers or trainers or whatever. From my experience, everybody teaches the same thing, but it just looks a little bit different. So I don't know who you've had and how it's been, but if they're half good, it's probably the same stuff, but just maybe a little bit different words. And like if you've got through enough processes, you can probably see how they kind of fit all together.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And if they're not worth anything, then you may have just learned complete utter chaos. But I think you've been with good people. So
yeah, they've been good. It's just been a lot of chaos because everybody's had like especially the last one, because when we went from the, I think if we just stuck to Cole's method, it would have been a lot better for us long term. But
Mm.
when we went to the next guy, he's like, okay, this is a B2B offer. That just fucking was an absolute left field. So then it's like, that's when the chaos really started. But no man, I'm excited, bro. I'm gonna spend these next couple weeks just freaking dialing this stuff in. So it's gonna be fun.
You're used goods man, so you just got to walk around saying that you've not slept with any guys, and you're good. You got to be one of those girls that have like got a lot of numbers. I'm a virgin, right?
Okay, I'm a virgin. Why not? Rolling it again.
Because the more different trainers people go through, the fucking more used and broken they are. Like when I hire people, my favorite people to hire are people with like no experience, pretty much. Or they've had like one trainer and they're slapping it. When you've had too many, like it gets a bit filthy. It's like the worst thing that can happen to you. And I think you've been through it, so I feel for you, man.
Yeah. No, we're getting this sorted out now. The good thing about like, dude, I can forget everything. I don't give a shit about all that. I can throw all that shit out the window and just only do this. So I'm gonna just focus on that. I guess for you, like with this offer you mentioned, I guess what we're learning right now, is it like you can go anywhere in sales and you can kind of replicate the same process, or are you customizing this specifically for this offer?
With this offer, this process is going to work. I mean, in terms of the objection handling and the money we've gone through, it'll work for every single offer. Everything. You can fucking go subtracted with that. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the discovery, we've only started the first little bit, but in terms of the discovery that I've got on the framework trainings and the discovery that I'm going to be teaching you, which is the same, that is really designed for like B2C opportunities, which this is. When you're selling people that are consistently making over 50K a month, and it's like actually B2B, right? You're talking to business owners. Then we do typically go problems first a little bit, but the whole sales shit's the same. It's just a bit of a different priority sometimes. But it's all sales is always sales. It's still you're still learning the same thing. It's always the same stuff. You just got to have a little bit of a different finesse. You're not going to go too emotional with them. You're going to try and get some emotions, but in a little bit of a sneaky way. You're not going to be like future pay, it's cost of an action. How's your life going to change, right? We do get the same elements, and the sales is still the same, but we just do it in a little bit of a different way with a little bit less intensity because they're business owners. But we still do want to hit the same points. So, but we don't have to worry about that. All you guys have to worry about, if someone's a salon owner, just ask them if they've got a partner, or like how just ask them how does the ownership structure work. That's the only difference here. You're selling B2B. If someone's a salon owner, you just want to ask them how their business is structured. And if they say they've got a business partner in the salon, you just ask a couple of questions. That's the only difference on this offer.
Gotcha. That's awesome, man. Appreciate it. Are you gonna drop this in the same chat?
Yeah, I'm gonna drop it for you. I've got a meeting. I'm a little bit over, so I'm gonna have to hop. But I'm gonna drop this in there. I'm gonna drop